At first, I just thought
Experience the Nephilim looked like clowns.
You know? Hello, everyone. How are we all doing? Come on in, sit on down. It's time for another episode of the Truther Therapy Sessions 82. My. How the time flies. I'm going to take these headphones out because I don't need them and they're hurting my ears. They're a leftover from a little podcast visit I just did there with somebody. It's going to be coming up soon. I'll be showing it on my Patreon, but he's going to be releasing it to the public very soon himself, and then we'll work on getting it on my channel a couple of weeks afterwards. But it was a good conversation. I had a really good conversation with him. We talked about many things, about what it is to be a Christian, trying to explain my faith, my background, how I got into it, a bit of more of a personal story, which was quite good. It was good to remind myself as well of what my testimony actually is. It's been a while since anyone's asked me that question, from the Nephilim clown stuff. So it was nice to kind of remind myself of the story. And obviously he asked a lot of hard questions as well about what it is to have faith in Christ and why I have such a faith. And he's not a Christian himself, but he's certainly seeking out truth and answers. And yeah, it was good. It was good to hash some ideas out with the guy. And then we obviously got a little bit into the Millennial Kingdom a little bit as well. Towards the end, and he asked some fun questions at the end and shared a few quotes here and there, and it was a good talk. I really enjoyed it, so that's coming out soon, guys. But I've just been going for like 2 hours straight, and I've hopped on with you guys as well, so sorry I'm running a little bit late. I just need to sort some things out in the background. You know what it's like. But I'm here today, and I'm going to go back to basics with the Truther Therapy Sessions. And I'm going to actually do what the namesake of this podcast actually is, and maybe get into some advice on what it is to actually be a truther and how to kind of navigate such a life. And I see Connor there's in the chat saying he loves how big that beard is getting. I'm looking a little bit homeless, hobo-ish, wide, bushy beardy right now, and I admit. He got away from me over the past couple of weeks, and I just haven't had time to deal with it. But yeah, like I said, we're going to get back to basics when it comes to what this podcast is for and what this channel is really all about, because I talk about some crazy things on here and I go a little bit back and forth on topics, but fundamentally when I started this channel I wanted to kind of reform the truther culture which is quite a naive hopeful worldview, I suppose. I could in some way change anything at all to do with this thing. But the idea was that learning the truth is hard. It's scary. And whatever truth that is, whatever rabbit hole you started with and wherever you are on your journey to having paradigms absolutely shattered, it's tough. It's rough on the soul, body, and mind. Relationships can just crumble. You can lose loved ones and family because they're just sick of listening to you and cannot stand you anymore because you've changed as a person now and you're just obsessed with these really negative things. And I get it. And in a way, it's up to us to touch grass in a way and get back to ourselves and remember who we are and remember the impact these type of things have on other people and how we need to be careful, and how we should really try and be more self-aware of ourselves in the hopes of not only convincing other people that the stuff we're looking at is important, because if we aren't presenting ourselves well, they're not going to want to listen to the information we're trying to share, because it's kind of like, I don't want to end up like that guy. I'd rather not listen to what he wants to tell me, thank you very much, because he's gone absolutely insane, and clearly that means the information is bad. So we have to be careful, and we need to, like I said, remember that this stuff is earth-shattering for a lot of people. It's horrible to hear. They don't want to know. They'd rather not know. They'd rather just get on with their lives as it was before you came along and just started throwing stuff at them, and waving the sword of truth in their face, and they're getting all defensive, like, where did you come from? You got to remember from what it's like from their perspective, and have some empathy, I suppose. So I started a series called Tips for Truthers, and it's had a mixed reviews, but I still stand by its philosophy and what it's for, and it's there to help new people not fall into the same traps we did. It's too late for us. We're too far gone. The old school guard. We made all the mistakes. We burnt all our bridges. We pushed people over the edge. We've gone too far to have probably any hope of reconciliation with a lot of our loved ones that we've lost, or friends or family that we've lost along the way. But maybe, just maybe, we can reach those at an early stage in their walk, and they can learn a thing or two from our mistakes. So what I kind of want to do is, I'm going to read a few of my tips for truthers from my list, and reiterate some of the things I've already said in the past. And then I'm going to open up to you guys, and I want you to try and tell me some things you've learned along the way that you'd like to share. That maybe I could add to my own tips for truthers list, like a bit. And when I say a tip, I'm going to be very specific here. Like, these are broad, all-encompassing, generality type advice. Now, I understand some of you want to say things to me like, get right with Jesus Christ is the only advice you need, or, stick to that type of stuff, the biblical stuff, and keeping it religious in a sense. But what I'm trying to say is not everybody who's on their journey is there yet, necessarily. And the advice they need is not necessarily... They have no context to understand that, and you've narrowed down very quickly your audience by doing that type of thing. And I agree with you. Work out your salvation with Jesus Christ is very important and good advice if you're going to get into the truth movement and keep your foundation on that rock, that solid rock. Absolutely great advice. But I want the advice for you guys to give me to be more of a dealing with friends and family type advice, more worldly, earthly grounded advice in the reality of the day to day of a person life, that kind of advice. So if you've got anything at all, mention them in the comments. Try and tag me so I can see you or something. Do whatever you need to do, and maybe I'll bring it up as we go along. But while I'm here, I'm going to bring up my own little I have a little document with like 20 tips for truthers on there or something like that. And I've been going through a few of these, and I've already made 4 videos, I think, on this now. And the first one was, be careful who you share this information with. So if this is the first time you're hearing these, I'm going to try and quickly go over them, but I am making longer, more drawn out videos, kind of exploring the idea and giving examples on my channel. Which is linked in the description to the playlist. And you'll find I've kind of already done this once, like a year ago, in my car, just making random videos in my car, And now I've got the office and better quality lighting and a microphone. I'm doing them again, but also with some extra things I've learned along the way and some more examples and maybe a bit of a different spin. So I'm revamping or redoing the series, and I've got through another 4 of them recently. So the first one is, be careful who you share this information with. And this was based on the idea that not everybody's your friend out there. And there is a time and a place, and there's a certain type of person for you to be talking about this stuff with. Okay? And context is everything. And the main example I'm giving is that, like, don't talk about this stuff with your work colleagues, especially if you work in a big company with a lot of people. Okay? And it's not because, like, you should hide the truth or anything. I'm not trying to tell you, like, you say, oh, you're trying to encourage people to hide the truth, Paul, you evil satanic shill. Who do you think you are? I'm going to shout it from the rooftops. You're trying to limit people from learning the truth. It's like, lighten up. But that's not what's happening here. I'm trying to stop you from telling people who are your enemies who are going to use it to ruin your life. Okay? Because there are some people out there who hate you, who don't like you, and will not like you if you tell them this stuff. They'll hate you for telling them. The love of the truth is not in them, okay? And therefore they hate you because you're trying to tell them the truth. And you need to be weary of who these people are in your life, because you could go ahead and on your over the headset with a bunch of work colleagues start talking about the things you believe, thinking, oh, whatever, it doesn't matter. And then they go to your boss and then they tell your boss what you believe. And in my example, that he runs this YouTube channel, then your boss finds your YouTube channel, then one thing goes to another, then you're in a meeting with HR, then HR's telling you, well, you can't have this YouTube channel and be a manager, if the staff find it and get offended, if they get offended, then we can't help you, we're really trying to help you, Paul. We want to keep you safe here, I think you need to either step down and lose everything you've ever worked for, or you need to, get rid of the channel. Like these things happen because you told the wrong person, because you thought you could trust these people. And I'm trying to say, not everybody's your friend. Not everyone's your friend. So the first advice is be careful who you share this information with. Be very careful. And I guess this comes to the second piece of advice. You can't save everybody. Some people are just not meant to know. Okay. And this was a tough one. And I made a good half an hour conversation about this on my channel. I went through all of this, in the playlist, which you can find down below. But the point of this summarized is that people have to want to know before they're going to be open to listening to you or to accept anything you want to tell them. People have had to have made the choice to want to know the truth. If they haven't made that choice, everything you say to them is going to fall on deaf ears. They don't want to know, and they're not going to listen. Doesn't matter how hard you try. Until in their own hearts they have sincerely said to themselves, I want to know the truth, you're wasting your time. And people really don't want to hear that. They don't like that. You can't force somebody to want to know the truth. You can't. And that's in a non-Christian context. Okay. When it comes to salvation, you can separate the two from this advice. There's always a good time to share the salvation of Christ. There's never a time to limit that truth. Okay. But even then, they have to want to know to accept it into their own hearts. But try your best to tell them. Okay. But even then, you aren't saving them just because you told them the truth of Christ. Christ is the one that's saving them. You're just a signpost to lead them there. And remember that. Okay. But at the end of the day, remember, you can't save everybody in the sense that you're not going to be able to get everybody to listen to what you have to say. It isn't going to happen. I know I use the language save, and I guess that everyone made that biblical instantly, in that because obviously Jesus saves and all this type of thing. But when I made that piece of advice, I'm trying to say here is like, you can't just make everybody believe what you believe. You can't convince people just because you have the truth. They have to have made the choice. So there's the second piece of advice. The third one was take regular breaks. And this is more of, again, touch grass situation. Go out there and get in the real world. And remember what it is to be a human being again, and not some weird troll sat in the dark behind the blue light of your laptop screen forever and ever and ever. Go out there and live in the world with people so you can remember what it's like to be a person living in the world. Because we as truthers and conspiracy theorists, we can become very isolated very easily. It happens a lot. And it's understandable. I'm not saying this, it's like ridiculous to end up like this. It really isn't. Like, I get it, it's hard to want to even be anywhere near the world when you start learning these things, because it's kind of like, I just can't deal with it anymore. It's all a lot of bollocks. I just cannot deal with going outside and dealing with people who are still in the Matrix type of attitude, and I get that, but I think sometimes it's good to remember as well that you're getting weird, man. You're starting to smell like you're forgetting what it is to interact with human beings. And it's kind of, and when you do interact with a human being, you forgot the rules of engagement, of social engagement. It's handy to have those still and to understand that by just taking a break from it every now and then and getting back into what it is just to be a person struggling with existence in the world with everybody else. I don't mean start watching stupid movies or start doing stupid things and take up that smoking habit again. I don't mean that, okay? I don't mean go fall back into being worldly. I'm just saying, remember, you live in the world. You may not be of the world, but you're still living in it. And you have to remember what it's like to live in the world and go and relate to people. Don't forget what it is to be a person living here and the suffering we'll have to go through. And it's kind of, remember how to talk to people. Go out there and practice that skill. Don't lose that skill, okay? Because when push comes to shove, you need to be a representative for the truth. And if you look like a pale-skinned shut-in who forgot how to communicate clearly with people, you ain't going to convince anybody of anything ever. And we can tend to get in our own heads when you're in conspiracy, and you tend to forget, like, everything's in your head. All the thoughts are in your head, and you stop hearing things out loud, you know? And sometimes it's good to say what you believe out loud, so you can hear it, and then you can actually hear what you actually believe, you know? I think a lot of people forget that, the power in doing such a thing, because when it's all in your head, it all makes sense. But when you hear it said out loud, sometimes you hear the problems with what you actually believe and what you're saying and the contradictions. And again, that comes with just taking a break, maybe detaching, hooking off, getting some you time, go and work on that skill. Don't go and remember that I play guitar, I forgot about that. Go and do that thing, you know, go and do something that is productive. Go and do something that betters your life in some way. Go and do something that kind of isn't conspiracy related just for a little bit. And it's just to give your mind a break as well. So when you come back to it, you got clarity, you got perspective, something you probably have lost by constantly being in the narrow view of conspiracy for so long. I find going out there and being with people can really help ground you in a good way. So there's another piece of advice. Again, some people hate this type of thing. I'm saying this in love, okay? I'm not saying give up on the truth. I'm saying just go and take a break. The world was still burning before you came along, and it'll be burning long after you're gone. You can go take a break. We've got this. Don't worry about it. Come back when you're feeling refreshed, okay? That you're allowed to do that. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. So there we go. There's the second piece, the third piece of advice. Number 4 was titled originally, "Don't bother your grandmother with this stuff," but I think I retitled it for the actual latest reboot video. And what did I call it? I'm gonna have a look now quickly. But I realized people didn't quite understand what I was trying to tell them there. And I think they were thinking like, well, my grandmother's fine. My grandma can understand these things. In fact, she taught me everything. So what are you talking about, Paul? It's like, don't take me literally. It's a metaphor. It's a symbolic metaphor. It's the idea that there are really some people in this world who just don't need to know this stuff right now. Okay? Timing is everything. And it's there are some people who are dealing with enough and don't need you to come along and tell them, oh, by the way, satanic pedophiles rule the world and are drinking the blood of children. They don't need that thrown on them while they're going through like a suicidal depressive state or something. There's this timing for this, and I think I renamed it A Time and a Place. Okay, so the tip is there's a time and a place to bring these things up. There really is. Choose your time carefully. Some people are just not in a position to know these things yet, right? You have to deduce that before you open your mouth a little bit. And again, you really do just have to be careful. Like, this kind of comes back to tip number 1, be careful who you tell, but not because you're in danger of like losing stuff because your enemies are out there, but it's more just pick your times better. Like, maybe when somebody's the card's just like been written off, maybe now's not the time to tell them while that's going on, that 9/11 was an inside job. It's there's a timing, and we get so in our heads sometimes, and we're so oblivious to how people are dealing with stuff because we're lost in it, that we lose perspective, and then we open our mouths at the wrong time. Which is why we should be taking breaks to gain that perspective. All these tips go hand in hand, but it's choose your timings better. It really is. Choose your timing better. Like, someone just found out they got cancer. It's like, well, you think it's bad for you. Have you heard what's going on with it? And it's like, you don't need to stop bringing up horrible things, There's a time and a place. That's all I'll say about that, all right? There's a time and a place to tell people these things. Figure out that time. Have some tact. That's another good way to describe it. Have tact with this information. But yeah, there we go. There's another tip for you guys. So those kind of the videos I've made so far, and I've hit like a wall here because I was gonna. The timing of this kind of was quite funny. The next tip is don't get stuck on one theory, and isn't that rich coming from the guy who won't shut up about clowns or the millennial reign, you know? But it's kind of, this is a piece of advice I myself need to kind of remind myself of, and which is why I'm doing this Tips of Truthers today about this topic alone, about what it is to be a truth, because I'm not a one-trick pony when it comes to conspiracy. This is a channel that discusses all conspiracies. And I have become a little bit hyperfixated on just the one thing over the past year, haven't I? And some perspective has kind of been given to myself where I'm kind of realizing, like, you know, I need to broaden my horizons and focus a lot more on other topics. But there are these people out there, you know, in the truther realm as well, who kind of do find a topic and they obsess over it and they make their entire life about that one thing. Change their name based on it, start a YouTube channel, make nothing but YouTube like videos based on only that one topic, and even their YouTube channel is named after that topic, and it's kind of, they're stuck there and they never move on, and they never, it's like a plateau, shall we say. They've reached like a plateau of truth, and they're not going up or down, they're just staying on this horizontal line of truth when there's higher levels to go, there's more things to learn, there's always a new topic to look into, there's always more information out there you don't know, there's always another angle, there's always another like perspective to see things, and people who tend to get stuck on the one topic and obsess over it rarely see those other things. And I understand there's a need sometimes for niche and specialists in certain topics and regions. I get that, you know, there's space for that. But if you're like me and you're like an eclectic researcher who's out there trying to find the truth in all things, and you're not, maybe not necessarily like a master of anything in particular, keep yourself open to be learning and researching many different topics all at once, because you'll realize they all kind of connect. And I'm like a big picture guy myself, and I'm sure many of you people out there who are listening are the same. It's like I'm looking to see the holistic image. Where does each conspiracy fit into the wider conspiracy, you know? But even me, even I can fall prey to obsessing over one particular thing for a while. But just remember to move on every now and then and focus on other things. And I myself, you know, I was the clown guy for many years, and then I went to be the little season guy over the past couple of years. But I'm not done with the clowns, and I want to bring more to the table with that research and information as I write the second book, and you guys are going to be getting a lot more of that soon. But I also want to like talk about other topics. You know, I want to branch out and kind of get more topical with current events and kind of have a running commentary on current events, and the kind of what JT's doing with his JT's mixtape. That's his way of covering many other things. And I have my Q&A sessions every Wednesday, and I think they're going to become my version of JT's mixtape, where I cover current events and give my take on those things. Then I've got my Truth or Therapy sessions here, where we get interpersonal about the truther's journey instead. And then in between, I'll chuck a video out about the clowns and maybe touching the millennial reign every now and then, but other things as well, you know. And that's where the channel is going in my eyes, where it always should have been going. And even I'm going to take my own advice, and I'm not going to hyperfixate on just one thing for a while. I think it gets to a point where I feel like I'm just repeating myself, you know? And that's just me personally. But there's always more to learn, I guess, is another piece of advice for don't get stuck on one theory. And that's good advice for everybody involved in this game, I'd say. So number 6 is be open to be wrong a lot as well. If you're getting into the truther game, you're going to start on some basic stuff. Okay, and you're going to think you've learned a lot. And then there's going to come a time where all of that stuff you realize was actually complete nonsense, trivial things, because above that was this other layer of conspiracy that kind of created all those lesser things as distractions. And then you'll be at another level of knowledge where you'll think you've learnt it all, but then you realize you were wrong about all of that because something else had created those things to layer over that. And it's layer upon layer of deception that you'll be peeling away for a long time. It's past the parcel, but there's like 6,000 layers of wrapping paper on there, and the thing you get at the end of it is salvation of your soul. So it's worth it, but it takes a long time to figure that out, you know? So it's kind of, be prepared to be wrong a lot about a lot of things on this journey. Be willing to be wrong about a lot of things as well. Be open to the idea that you're coming at this from a point of ignorance and you're going to have to unlearn a lot of things, and you're going to have to believe some things to try and figure out if it's valid or not, and be willing to drop some things here and there. It's just a part of the journey, and it's a very humbling part of the journey. I've been wrong about many things over the years before I got to where I am today, and I bet I'm going to be proved wrong about a lot more things coming in the future as well. There are some things I feel confident that I know are right, but I bet I've said some stuff here and there about the minutiae and nuances of being a Christian that I might change my opinion on as time goes on and realize I believe this now instead of what I used to believe then. And things will always be changing in flux when you're coming to learn the truth. Because the truth is obfuscated from us, and it's a journey to get to the bottom of it all. And like I said, wrap each layer of deception off. So be open to that. That's number 6. Number 7 is your worldview will change constantly before you reach a decent foundational rock level, shall we say, where you can start building everything else upon it. And I guess this is kind of in tandem with be open to being wrong a lot. Maybe these 2 tips will become one in a video or something, but it's kind of eventually you'll find the foundation you're going to base all your truth off of. And I found that in Christ and in the Christian perspective. But to get there, I had to go through all the other perspectives first. And my worldview, my overall ontology, the way I perceived reality, my ontological, I can't even say it. My overall worldview is what took a long time to get to a foundational level before I could then interpret the conspiracy through. And I went through many. And you may be in your journey where you are still clinging onto a certain belief system which is not answering the questions you sufficiently anymore, and you need a new paradigm or a new foundational lens to view things through. I would always recommend, from my perspective, get to the Christian angle faster, sooner rather than later, because it explains everything very clearly and succinctly. And I'm not talking about churchianity angle. I'm talking about true relationship with the Father through Jesus Christ angle. And once you get there, you'll find the conspiracy makes a lot more sense very quickly. And not in a convenient way where it seems a bit sus, more in a, damn, that was complex and that really makes a lot of sense in a way I wish it didn't type of way. Okay, it's kind of because it comes with conviction and a lot of other things. But for a long time, I know a lot of people in the truth movement may have avoided the Christian question for a while because they want the other things to be true first. All the things that come under the wide umbrella of conspiracy, which we call New Age. But trust me, I'm going to try and say, my advice is to save you a lot of time. It took me years, but if you want to just bypass it all, just go straight to the Christian perspective and it'll make sense. Trust me. That's all I have to say about that. That's my personal spin on that thing. But again, your worldview will change a lot before you reach a foundational level to build everything else on. And number 8 is be careful how you say the truth. It's a volatile weapon and people get defensive. So the truth is a weapon is advice number 8. And the analogy is basically, when you tell somebody a real hard truth about reality, a paradigm shifter, it's like you just got a gun out and you pointed it straight in the face. Okay, that's what it's like. It's like you just got a gun and pointed it right at them, and they're like, "Whoa, this guy's nuts." And the truth is a weapon. It's like you just took a sword out and you're waving it around in front of them, and they're like dodging you and like trying to get out of the way. Because it's terrifying. It's kind of like, what is this thing? The truth is a weapon at the end of the day. And when you start brandishing weapons in people's faces, they get defensive and they fight back. Okay, and it's always good to remember that you need to handle the truth with care, proper care, just like you would handle a weapon. Okay, and you need to show them how the thing works safely. Okay, not aiming it at them while you're at it. All right. And it's this analogy, you can understand where I'm going with this. It's kind of because when we tend to tell people the truth, we tend to make the person we're telling it to feel like they're the problem or they need to change or something. We're attacking them with the truth, or at least from their perspective, that's how it feels. It feels like a personal attack. when we start telling them that everything's corrupt and the TV is terrible and that TV show they love is actually brainwashing propaganda and all this type, and the music they listen to and love so much is actually propaganda that's there to dehumanize humanity and make them into degenerate idiots. And it's kind of like, but I really like that song. It's kind of, they take it personally when you start telling them these things. You're attacking the very foundational sense of self. Okay, and they don't want that. They don't want you doing that. They're not interested in that. Like so they're going to fight you. They're going to fight back. They're going to stop you from trying to kill them. Their ego, shall we say, their false self that they've identified with, that's been given to them through the programming. They're going to defend that thing, maybe even to the death in some respect, which is why it's kind of be careful who you tell these things to, because they can go and ruin your life if they want to, if they feel really personally like put aback and affronted by what you just did. You got to be careful. The truth is a weapon. Remember that. Okay? If you just start telling people like the truth, like bam, 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 the shot's fired as far as they're concerned. Like, especially, like, use the Matrix analogy. They're an agent who's under fire now. They're going to turn into the agent and get their guns out, and start firing back at you. You've got to be careful. Don't call them truth bombs for nothing, all right? And remember that. And there's a bit of piece of advice for you there as well. What else have I got here? At number 9, your family won't want to listen, and that's fine. Don't let this information break you apart. Okay? Now, again, this doesn't have to apply to faith and the truth in Christ. This is about conspiracy theories. I'm talking about conspiracy theories here. A lot of your family will just say, oh, there's Paul just being crazy again. He's just talking nonsense or whatever. He's just doing that thing. He's on his soapbox. He's preaching about everything. He's ruining everything as usual, And they just don't want to listen to you. Your family just don't care. It's just same old. He's doing his thing again, just talking nonsense as he always is. And you need to accept that, okay, that's fine. Maybe they're just not meant to know. Right? They just don't want to know. They haven't made the choice to know. And you need to learn to accept that. And as painful and horrible as that is, as much as you want them to see the world from your perspective and they're just not listening, they're still your parents at the end of the day. It's still your family. They're still the ones that raised you and loved you and cared for you. And don't forget that, okay? They're still your brothers and sisters. They're still your family, your flesh and blood, the very ones who have been there through it all. And if you don't let this information break you apart, is what I'm saying. Okay, and it's easily done. It's really easily done because we've identified with these ideas and they feel personally attacked by you trying to tell them these things and change them and change their worldviews because the truth is a weapon, and it just blows up into an absolute nightmare. And before you know it, you're estranged and haven't talked to each other in like 3 years. Or when you do talk to each other, it's awkward, it's silent, it's a few words, it's right, and yeah, I'm fine, whatever. And that's it. That's the conversation until the next Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever it is. It's kind of, do you want that for the rest of your life? Really over this topic, over conspiracy theories? Come on, think, gain some perspective again. Think about it. It's probably not worth breaking up the family over, is it? Because we're going to need each other in the future. We really are, and look, all you can do is plant seeds. Mention it once or twice, let them argue with you, but don't argue back and say, well, that's just what I believe, that's all it is. You know what I believe. If you ever want to talk about it, come find me, but I'm not going to bring it up anymore. It's fine. And leave it at that. Just plant the seed. Now they know you think about these type of weird things, and if they ever get curious about something, they'll ask you, because you're the source to go to. You're the one they trust, You're probably best just playing that game, rather than trying to bombard them with everything all at once, and then they suddenly think you need sectioning, and they're going to call somebody to come and take you away into a padded room. Probably should have had more tact. Probably should have been careful about how you said these things. Probably should have realized the truth is a weapon. You probably should have just realized all these basic boilerplate pieces of advice before you just let it destroy your entire life. Again, easier said than done. Sometimes the horse is already bolted for a lot of you out there. But if you're new, heed these warnings. I'm serious. Number 10 is support researchers you love while you still can. And this isn't about monetary stuff. This is about simply that in the truth of game, a lot of creators come and go and disappear. And the videos often go with them. So I'd recommend downloading videos you really love and saving them somewhere for a future generation when these things have disappeared, or show that creator that you actually support them and care about them and appreciate what they do. Send them the messages that they need to hear to encourage them to keep going. All of it counts. Everything matters, because in this game they could just lose everything all at once. The rug can be pulled at any moment. It really can. I've seen many truther channels just disappear over the years, and I'm very sad about it. And I wish I'd done more when they were around. I wish I had helped more, shared more of their videos. I wish I had saved some of the stuff. I wish I had reached out to them and tried to have a conversation with them, or this type of thing. But it's too late. They're gone now. Sometimes they're either just don't make content anymore, were banned in some way, or they're even dead in some cases. It happens. Like, you've got to be careful that you don't miss your chance to let them know before it's too late, or save their work before it's too late, or support them in any way possible before it's too late. Just the nature of conspiracy and people talking about it is that it's in constant flux. People come and go for many reasons on this platform. Sometimes nefarious, sometimes personal, sometimes just nature. You need just remember that, okay? Number 11 is, whether it's an illusion or not is irrelevant. You still have to live a life within it. So, this is a Matrix analogy. Everyone's like, all reality is an illusion. Everything's fake. Nothing's real. Even the Earth is a holographic projection at the end of the day. And it's kind of a very Gnostic way of viewing reality, at many levels, a very Matrix-esque worldview. But my argument to that has always been, okay, well, even if it is a projection, it's still God's creation. It's the same thing. You're just removing God from the equation in many ways, and it's all just numbers and code. It's all sacred geometry and sequences of events and dualities, and it's all just an illusion, shall we say? Maybe, but it's still the illusion you've got to live in. Remember that. It's still God's creation. Like, it's God's illusion, and he made it for you. Go enjoy it, Remember that. Like, don't get down about that idea. And also remember, as much as it is all controlled, don't let that stop you from living your life. God made you to have life and live life more abundantly. He gave it so you would do something with it. It's a gift. Life is a gift. And I know it's hard to see it that way sometimes when you're in a corrupt reality and there are evil people out there. But we can make it good for us and the people we love and those around us if we so tried. You still have a life to live within the illusion, It's still there. Don't waste it. Make something good of it. Make the illusion better for others while you're at it. That's all I'm going to say. It's a personal thing. Number 12 is, don't let the bastards get you down. Speaks for itself. There are a lot of evil people in this world. Narcissism abounds. Evil people abound in this world. It's you're rewarded for lying. You're rewarded for killing people. You're rewarded for stepping on others to get ahead. You're rewarded for being self-centered. You're rewarded for being a hedonist. You're rewarded for displaying yourself naked. You're rewarded for doing sordid things for money. You're rewarded for these things. You're encouraged, in fact, to be a degenerate. And if you do these bad things in this world, you are rewarded monetarily and with fame and value from a worldly perspective for living a life of sin. That's how this world works. You are rewarded for being a sinner. But don't let those people get you down. Don't let that get you down, all right? Stand apart in the world. Be different. Don't do those things. Stay positive. Be a light in the world for others. Encourage others. Don't bring others down. It's actually a righteous act. It's insane to do that in this world, okay? The whole world is not going to appreciate that. They'll look at you and go, what's that lunatic doing? Being kind to people. Doesn't he know the only way to get ahead is to step on others? That's weakness. This guy's weak. He's an idiot. He's a fool. He's going to get used and abused. But that's the point. It's radical to be kind in a world that rewards sinful behavior. And be radical. Be a rebel. That's all I'll say. Sheeple are people. This is tip number 13. We have this tendency to dehumanize those who aren't awake when you're a truther. We have this tendency to view them as less than or idiots who just can't see the truth like I can, you know. We have this, and we degrade them in some way, and we call them sheep, followers, herd mentality idiots who are too afraid to carve their own path and go against what everybody else is doing, you know. They're just basic brain dead fools, you know, and it's kind of, in a way, you have to realize, well, so were you at one point, you know, if you want to go down that way. Have some empathy again, and remember, these are not sheeple. These are human beings who are just in the world and have not yet been called out of it. And you try and help them get out of it. Don't put them down, you know. Yeah, they may kick and scream along the way, and they may call you all sorts of horrible names, but they'll be thankful for it in the end. But again, have tact with how you do it. Choose your timing correctly. Present yourself well. Plant the seed. Let them come to you. Let them decide to make the choice to want to know. And when they're ready to know, be there as a light, as a direction and a guide. But remember that the sheeple are still people at the end of the day, with a mother, a father, possibly children, people relying on them, illnesses, their own struggles, depressions, pain and misery and suffering of existence that everyone else has to go through. Have empathy, love one another, love these people, don't hate them. Okay, they are humans at the end of the day. They are men and women, just like you and me. Okay, they're no different than us, just because they don't know some stuff that we have taken upon ourselves to consider the be-all, end-all of knowledge. Like, just because they don't know some stuff doesn't suddenly mean they're not human anymore. Just because they capitulate with the system doesn't mean they're not a victim who's fooled. It doesn't mean they're evil all of a sudden. They're just people who have been lied to like the rest of us. Remember that, okay? They're still people. And my phone's popping off here. Let me just have a quick break. I'm going to drink some water. And I'll come back to this and we'll do some more in a minute. While I'm having a break, I'm going to play for you an advert. I had to quickly get all the adverts for my Nephilim Look Like Clowns book back onto OBS. And I'm going to mix it up a little bit. I know it's not the season for it, but I'm going to play a Halloween advert for you guys because it's the longest one I've got and I need a bit of a break. So here's 3.5 minutes of Halloween. Bear with me. Here it is. And enjoy this, guys, while I just have a quick walk break.
When ordinary people think of autumn, they imagine shorter days, cozy fires, curling up with a great piece of literature, and basking in the warming scent of cinnamon with shades of burnt orange, which your other half has decided to spend the life savings on to decorate the home for only 2 months, just as God intended. Yet we must remember that this transition into the frosty abyss of winter creates the perfect conditions for the spread of the pathogen known as Halloween. This disease causes people to dress like demons and go door to door asking for free stuff. This public service announcement aims to give you the correct tool to help you deal with these contagious commie behaviors when they manifest in your local community. First, you'll want to arm yourself with multiple shots of the best-selling paperback on Amazon called The Nephilim Looked Like Clowns. With this PPE, you're fully equipped and well protected to handle what's to come next. Second, have a pumpkin spice latte and white girl autumn your time away in knitted cream shackets and pilgrim hats, because soon enough, Samhain begins. This is when the veil between the spirit realm and the physical world is at its thinnest, and possession, the main symptom of Halloween, is more commonly presented, causing this type of unironic cringe to start happening. Just look at him. This poor soul thinks he looks cool. And if you're not careful, this could be you. Together we can stop the spread of Halloween and flatten the curve. When you see fully grown adults playing dress-up and mirroring unspeakable horrors from beyond the void, remember your training and cure their vapid sense of self-identity by handing them one of our favourably reviewed treatments. Your country must develop herd immunity to seasonal cringe. So, spread the cure far and wide. Just like the cure, this disease does not discriminate by age. Emulating the infected, you will see children running around in bedsheets, knocking on doors, begging for sugary treats, and threatening to damage your well-earned property. Make sure to fill their novelty buckets with the one thing all children secretly want: a well-rounded and relatable education in biblical history. That'll stop the spread. The Nephilim look like clowns, and the inevitable boost of volumes are currently the only known cure to thinly veiled demon channeling holidays. This is your best defense against this pandemic of spooky proportions. All you have to do is trust the science. Which you know we did, because I'm showing you people wearing lab coats and looking serious. Get your copy on Amazon today, and be prepared for tomorrow. Side effects of reading The Nephilim Look Like Clowns include, but are not limited to, a feeling of existential crisis, a well-rounded knowledge of a Christian contrarian view on human history, a foundational understanding of spiritual warfare, and a healthy aversion to clowns.
And I'm back. How are we all doing, guys? Hope you enjoyed that random throwback to the last Halloween advert I created. I need to make more adverts for the book for all year round. I should probably make a Mother's Day one or something, shouldn't I? I think I'm going to make one for the audiobook as well. A bit of fun. I'm going to poke some fun at people who, my audience, who have a very low attention span and can't read, but want to make themselves feel like they can read, so they can have the book open while the audiobook just plays it for them instead. Something like that, you know, a tongue-in-cheek ripping into my audience and the lack of abilities to actually read anything. So I'm going to probably make that video soon. But there you go, a bit of a throwback. Anyway, I'm back. It's like JT's just joined the chat. How you doing, brother? Good to see you. Happy Sunday. I hope I'm not clashing with one of your own streams again. I'm sorry about that yesterday. I literally just threw that Nino interview out without thinking about it because it'd been a couple of days. I just needed the content. So I was like, yeah, I just took it out, whatever. I didn't even confer or check with you if you were doing something. But I think it lined up quite well. I think it ended just in time, didn't it? But again, I'm sorry about that. I'll be more careful next time, I promise. Unless I'm doing it right now, then I've already failed. Who knows? Connor's in the chat. He says, I believe we are all still pretty dumb in the grand scheme. If we try to imagine God's limitless knowledge, we are bugs. It's a bit low, isn't it? Yeah, we're lower than bugs, I think. We don't even get to have we don't even get to be bugs, I don't think, from his perspective. I don't know what we are. Everyone around me is brainwashed and a puppet in the system, says Val. Yes, but have some empathy. The delusion is strong. The weapons used against us are pretty sneaky, and it's hardly surprising many people are under the thumb of it. Do it, Paul. That one sounds perfect. Lotta Shane. Yeah. Yo, Connor, SP, and whoever everyone else is here. Shane B. He's trying to say hi to everyone all at once. There we go. Yeah, it's like everyone's the whole crew's rocked up. It's great to see you all here. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. I like how you did your voice in that advert. What do you call that? Is it transatlantic? It's like American people trying to sound kind of posh and British in some way. Everyone said I sounded like Kennedy, but I don't know. I just thought it was funny. I'm just trying to go for that 1950s, 1940s style announcer voice, you know, the infomercial voices you see at cinemas talking about the latest news and announcements. I thought it would be something funny like that, and a few you know, that thing that happened in 2020 jokes in there as well, thrown in for good measure. Welcome back, Paul, says Wendy. Well, thanks. Yeah, thanks for being here, Wendy. I appreciate it. Yeah, I took a couple of days off. I didn't do a live stream on Wednesday. Because I just needed a break. I was taking my own advice for once. I was like, I can't do a live show tonight. I am too burnt out. I've got some reevaluating to do on many levels, and I'm like, I just don't have it in me to be on. I'm on all the time. When does Paul get to be off? when's it Paul's turn to be off? So I felt like, you know, I just needed a break on Wednesday, so I just didn't I didn't do a live show. Sorry, guys. So I released just a few backlog things I had. I had a Flat Bears little video he made about me, using my voice description of the alien agenda and the little season stuff, which had a good reception. I hope he got some good subscribers from that. I appreciate him doing that for me. And then I released the Nino interview yesterday as well, and that had been out on his channel for like a week now, and I've been sharing it on Patreon prior to that. That was a good interview. I enjoyed that. I think we got some good results. And I have another one coming up with Sam Tripoli in a couple of weeks as well, or maybe a week now. It's coming up soon anyway. So they still have that one to look forward to as well. But like I said, I think the channel as well, I'm going to start pumping out more Nephilim clown stuff. I'm going to start going back to the old school days when I had like 30,000 subscribers. And if you're new to the channel and you don't know what I mean by the Nephilim clown stuff, if that is just not something you've looked into yet, you have a whole rabbit hole there to jump into and sink your teeth into. Trust me, it's nuts, right? And it's my baby. It's what I'm known for. It's what I created. I think it's true. I bring the receipts and as much evidence as I possibly can. And I'm writing the second volume in my 2-book series now, and there's more stuff to share, more cultures to examine, more ancestor spirit worship rituals, more clown costumes everywhere, more representation of the Nephilim everywhere to back up this idea. And I'm going to bring it all to you over the next few months, and I'm going to start making more episodes to my Nephilim Look Like Clown series for you guys. And you're gonna enjoy it. It's good fun. And obviously I'm going to release the audiobook as well soon as well, and we'll be doing some fun advertisements for that as well. And I'm also going to start doing more interviews talking about the Nephilim Look Like Clowns. People have been inviting me on to discuss it, which is quite fun. So I'm going to go back to old school Paul and share that concept again, and I'll share those on my own channel once I've done the interviews, so my new subscribers who haven't heard about it yet can get some good summaries from me of what it is with visuals, because they're very visual theory, this one. So yeah, that's coming soon, guys, as well. What's going on down here? You did awesome on the Nino interview, 100%, says Pearl. Thank you. I'm glad you guys liked it. Yeah, he was very open to it, very gracious host. I don't know what he's done with it since. I don't know how his audience has reacted. I've avoided looking at the comments, to be honest. Just, it causes more stress than good when that kind of thing is going on. But I think it was a positive review. I've had a lot of people emailing me since. A lot of interesting requests from certain channels who I think want to attack me or corner me or in some way, or maybe try and debate me. So I'm ducking and diving loads of things right now to try and not put myself in any precarious positions, you know. So it's been good. It's been a good response, if I can see it. It's brought a lot of new people to the channel, which is wonderful. The Telegram group has blown up because of it. And I think it resonated with a lot of people. So good. I'm glad that worked, and I'm glad you guys liked it. The whole Filthy Rise scripture makes a lot more sense if we're the rest of the dead, says Oh Greatest Amy. That's an interesting way of seeing it, yeah. Are you into genealogy at all? I'm not, Space Mike, really. No, that's not something I dwell into. It's the Fallout voice. I'm not sure. Is it the Fallout voice? I played all the Fallouts, but I don't remember it being specifically the Fallout voice. It's transatlantic. That's the accent. That's what it's called. Or pan-Atlantic or something like that. When people question if the church is of God, ask the traditions they keep. If they keep pagan holidays, they're owned by Freemasons, 501c3 paid shills, says Val. Well, maybe. It's hard to know where people's hearts truly are, isn't it? But yeah, it seems like a lot of the mainline churches are definitely under the thumb of an authority they shouldn't be. That's for sure. Yay, finally caught alive. My marriage has completely changed for the good because of all of you in this community, says Sarah Horn. Well, that's great to hear, Sarah. Fantastic. We're having positive effects. I like to hear it. Just that 1950s advert. That's right. Yeah. I sent you an email called Eddie Bravo Vindicated. It's not spam. It's actual evidence that deception about the shape of the Earth is global, not just NASA, says Pedro for life. I did see that email, Pedro. It's with a lot of other emails, but I did catch it. And yeah, I understand Eddie's been under attack by Joe a lot recently for his flat Earth beliefs, showing recent satellite footage or something like that of the Earth, saying, "Bro, see, it's real," and he's like, "Nah, it's all fake, bro." Like Eddie's like, "Nah, it's all fake. Don't believe any of it." You sent me a video to prove that he's right, and it's all obviously fake. I think it's to do with the cloud placements or something like that. I think it was, wasn't it? Maybe I'll bring it up in my live Q&A, and I'll show what you shared with me with my audience, so we can kind of get into that a little bit more. It's always a fun topic, isn't it? Paul, keep the work up. You're breaking down the pride and ego of many. Once they hear this truth, they can no longer stay blind and deaf. You keep it up. Take a break. Spend time with your family, says Aaron King. Yeah, well, I'm always in the middle of a juggling act with family life, work life, and direction, because I don't like to get pigeonholed, and I like to stay loose with what I want to talk about and topics. And I do feel like I've kind of pigeonholed myself heavily into the little season thing recently. And don't get me wrong, I believe it. I'm on board, but I do want to talk about other things. I like to keep it eclectic on this channel. And I think I'm going to start pivoting to do more of that. And I have tried to, I've thrown things in there here and there every now and then. But there's plenty more to talk about. I might want to get more into the parasites again, I think, with Vitaly and that aspect of things. I want to talk maybe more about the really trippy stuff, the old stuff, get retrospective about things from the past. I used to do a Remember series, and I brought up loads of topics on there. Let me see if I can bring it up, actually, and just give you an example of the things I used to talk about. Playlists. I think they're in my random ruminations. And if I go down to the bottom of the random rumination playlist, I think it's... where is it? Yeah, so this talking about Ice Spice, messing with DNA, talking about Doja Cat in the music industry quite a lot, things like that. Talking about remember the RFID chip, or remember the pineal gland, or remember the orbs of light, or remember Project Bluebeam. Talks about non-playable characters. Do you remember crop circles? Things that we all seem to have forgotten for some reason and don't talk about anymore. I want to bring back up, I talked about the NPC phenomena. Do you remember that, where everyone was literally acting like NPCs not that long ago? Remember the hoaxes movement, where everything is a hoax? Remember all that stuff back in the day? We've got remember Comet Ison. Everyone thought the tail of the debris of the tail of Comet Ison, we were going to pass through it, and it would cause major problems and destruction. Do you remember the Illuminati card game? This is a lot of topics I've covered a lot of in the past. And none of those videos really have any views because I made them 2-3 years ago, and I didn't have many subscribers then. But they're all there to go look back on if you want to just go to my playlist, Random Ruminations, and go right to the beginning. There's a huge backlog of videos where I talk about many topics, but I kind of want to keep doing that, and go back in time and review conspiracy theories as they've come and gone throughout the years, But I did kind of pivot, like I said, into this little season thing, and I've kind of just not really left in a way. I have tried to throw other things in, again, talking about performance artists, the Nephilim clown aspect, masks, the stuff about pods and eating the bugs, and the false promises of AI and transhumanism. Although I miss those topics. I kind of miss it, I do want to get back into all that stuff again, because the world's moved on since I started talking about the little season. I bet there's so much more to cover there now. And I'm excited to kind of get back into it, to be honest. So yeah, that's kind of where my headspace is at, and where I'm going to start going with this channel and get a bit more fun. Remember backmasking, says MK, right? I do remember that. Dr. David Oates. Do you remember David Oates? I think that was his name. He's the guy on YouTube, isn't he, who literally plays clips of people speaking backwards and just finds them saying loads of random stuff, which is ridiculous. Yeah, that stuff was fascinating. Honk honk for Connor while he's in the shower, says Sarah Horn. Fair enough. I don't know why you're giving me a super chat for his bathing habits, but fair enough. Virtual reality support, Paul. Thanks, virtual reality. I appreciate that too. We should do a Marvel movie truth series. Been watching them to see what they show. Captain America and Old World Blimps, Wakanda, Hidden Cities, Spider-Man, Doc Ock possessed by AI tech. Yeah, I remember, yeah. there's a lot of hints in these movies, isn't there? That's for sure. Thank you, Paul. Your work has changed my views on the world. Have you had Jack Jones on before? No, I don't think I have. No, but thanks for the support there. I just watched the Indigo Children vid yesterday, says Arden. Yeah, exactly. Remember Indigo Children? Yeah, they're having a revival recently, aren't they? With the telepathy tapes, I believe, is the thing, and they're the next stage in human evolution. It's all coming back again. This is nothing new, but this time we're just calling them autistic instead of Indigo Children. It's everything comes full circle in conspiracy. It never ends. What did happen to crop circles, says Danny L? Well, let's get into it. This is what I mean. Like, I haven't forgotten. You know, I've been watching for like over a decade. I remember all these things. It's kind of a what happened to that? Let's go and find out. You know, what's Dave and Keith doing with the wooden boards and strings these days, as we're supposed to believe? You know, let's go find out. But yeah, there's lots of fun to be had in conspiracy when you actually start looking into it. And they throw a lot of red herrings and psyops at us. What happened to the Fort Knox expedition? Oh, we forgot. Yeah, we forget a lot of things. Yeah. What's your take on mud fossils, Paul? I think it's fascinating. I think it's absolutely fascinating. And I really appreciate Stellium 7's work on that, to be honest. I know Mud Fossil University covers a lot of things as well, but I think he also goes a little bit extreme with some stuff that I'm not quite on board with about the scale of some of the creatures he's talking about. But at the same time, there's lots of evidence to prove that most of the Earth's rock formations is actually petrified flesh of giants and all this type of thing. Is really interesting. So yeah, I find it fascinating. Stellium 7 does a lot of great work on that. So I'd check him out if I was you. It would be great to continue about those topics, as all of it a part of the little season anyway. Just an opportunity for more people to open their minds up to the possibilities, says Jaden Farrington. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it all comes full circle. I think the little season stuff is great because it kind of gives us like a catch-all context for conspiracies now. But I still want to kind of focus on these other things and these ideas and how they cropped up, where they led, the movements that arose from them, get a bit retrospective about where the movement went and what perhaps the real purpose of these topics are, if they were organic or not, and this type of stuff. And I'm not saying I have all the answers, but I like to talk about that kind of thing. So we're definitely going to do more of that for sure. Stellium 7 is fantastic, says episode 65. Yeah, no, he is. I had him as a guest on here. I might get him back again, to be honest, to do some more. Yeah, he was a good guest. Interesting, a wealth of knowledge. I can thank Wendy for introducing me to Mike. I can. So thanks again, Wendy. Always contributing to the movement behind the scenes. Have you guys been on Red Note? It seems like China's not that bad after all. So we're not that different after all. No, I haven't seen it myself. Hello from Argentina. Cordoba? Argentina, is that how you pronounce it? I better butchered that, haven't I? Thanks for being here. What time is it for you guys over there? The little season is the most important subject you could be talking about, says Alvin Marcus. Well, yeah, it's important, but it's not the only subject in existence. Like, I'm not one to get obsessive exactly. You know what I mean? It's fascinating. It's interesting. I like talking about it, but it's not my be all end all of existence. I think there's still stuff to be talked about, as long as it's biblically grounded, you know. And my faith in Jesus is still made front and center of the whole thing as well. But I think you know, this happens a lot. And again, there was in the advice, like a lot of people do get so hyper obsessed over the one topic, and they really start to identify with it in a way that it may not be healthy. Sometimes it becomes they lose the self to it, you know. And I don't think God wants us to forget who we are over conspiracy topics exactly. But again, I understand the little season thing is a bit more than just a conspiracy topic. I do know that. I'm aware of that. You know, it's an eschatology. It's a paradigm. It's a worldview. And it comes with people who get extremely passionate about it in ways that don't look healthy sometimes. I'm sorry to say it, but it can get weird, and we just need to always remember that and be self-aware. Sad that my memory brings me back to Madonna movie Puke. Don't cry for me, Argentina. Yeah. Paul and my lunch break together would be so dope. Who knows? Maybe one day. We got Beck from Oz in the house. Good to see you. The trails really mess with our memories, I think. Possibly, SP. Yeah, I've had a lot of theories about that. The recent one, I think it might be there to keep us in a constant state of like fogginess and just mess with our memory. I feel like it might be a memory messer. That's my latest theory. I don't really know, though, what the full end goal agenda of that is yet. The weapon they use to keep people asleep. You're welcome, Paul, says Wendy. She got my... She got it there. Biogeology seems like a good term. It is a great term. Biogeology. Yeah, that's what he calls it. John Levi removed his little season video. Really? He'll be back with something else. Or he'll just ignore. It's one of the two. As someone who is autistic, this malarkey about autistic people being telepathic is... Yeah, I can't say that. Yeah, Jenny, I haven't really looked into it, to be honest. I've just heard people talking about it in some way. And what I've heard so far is a little bit like, oh, all right then, okay. If that's what you think, but I'm not totally sure. You should try and get my lunch break or Conspiracy ROs for an interview, says whosoever. Maybe I will one day. It'd be nice to thank Conspiracy ROs for keeping the Nephilim clown topic alive when I couldn't. I gave him a thanks at the end of the book. If he doesn't know, if he's even listening, if anyone knows him and wants to send him a message, and let him know at the end of my book, I do personally thank him. I give him a thank you for doing what I couldn't when I was off YouTube, thanks to work forcing it. I fully understand, Paul. You rock, brother, says Alvin. No, I'm glad you understand. It's been like a time warp for real, says Lot. Yeah. Right. So anyway, I've got some more tips for truthers for you guys, but not before this other commercial break where I'm going to share with you another random advert for about the books, just because I can. So I'm sorry if this one plays immediately. I will pause it. Yeah, there we go. And let's do the Christmas advert. Here you go. Enjoy this. We'll have another water break.
This Saturnalia. Imagine a world where the truth was accessible and relatable. Where red baubles on a Nimrod phallus are forever changed. A solstice celebration where conspiracy and intrigue carry you away. Experience The Nephilim Looked Like Clowns, the perfect book for your weird way of life. Direct from Europe, this highly rated research has warmed the hearts of millions in time for the frosty season. Be inspired by timeless biblical questions such as, what the hell is Satan's problem? Ham did what to Noah? Was the pre-flood world really that bad? And if classic questions aren't your thing, and you prefer your Yuletide to be extra occult, take a trip to the unknown with the spine-chilling Hatman to the psychedelic realm of demonic jesters. You'll get 20 obscure and tantalizing chapters. No other book gives you the feeling of pure vindication towards your childhood fear of clowns. Each paragraph brings the wonder of Christ's sacrifice into your home. For this commercialized nonsense holiday, there's no greater gift for your family than a guide to effective spiritual warfare. Order now and get that edgelord of a teenage child of yours to Christ this winter. Sometimes in this little season, it takes clowns to get them there. To get your copy, do not call the number on screen, which is being used as a placeholder reminder of a bygone time. And don't send a check to any PO box because this is not the 90s anymore. Simply type in "The Nephilim Look Like Clowns" on Amazon to get your copy just in time to lock yourself away from the world and wait out the pagan festivities.
And I'm back. I know that's probably a bit of a what can I kindly call it? A mind something, a mind warp, shall we say? Going back in time to Christmas when the sun's shining and spring is in the air, But yeah, I haven't made an advert in a while. You can have some throwbacks instead. It's my channel. I'll play some Christmas adverts if I want to. But I hope you enjoyed that one. I enjoyed making that one, and obviously it was a lot easier than it looks. It's all done through iMovie. And just adding opacity low, layered VHS tape effects over a lot of download, like rendered in low quality, put it back in, render it again in lower quality, put it back in, render it again in lower quality with a new layer on top. Add some crackling in the background. It's actually really easy to do. Bit of photoshopping there, get my book with a Christmas background, and it's good fun to do, and I'm looking forward to getting creative like that again and making some new adverts for you guys in the future. Because I've missed doing that. Because I've been so hyper focused on these other things, this other topic. It's kind of I forgot who I am, guys. I'm losing my sense of self, So I'm gonna go back to try to do more of these fun little things for you guys. Speaking of a book, are signed copies available again? Says Space Mike. Funny you should say that. I made an order a couple of days ago. They're due to arrive on the 12th, it says, but they usually arrive earlier. So yes, in the next few days, I will have about 12 books available to ship out for signed copies. I've ordered 7 paperbacks and 6 hardbacks, I think, or something like that. I think I'm sending 3 of them out to Old World Florida's bookshop to go on consignment there on his shelf. But I'll have some books available left to send out to whoever wants one. If you would like to reserve a copy and get yourself one of those, just email me at understandingconspiracy@gmail.com, send the payment, and then it's yours. And as soon as the book arrives, I'll ship it straight out to you. No problem whatsoever. So yeah, that is available. Signed copies, just email me at understandingconspiracy@gmail.com, and I will sign the book, package it, and mail it straight out to you wherever you are in the world. Not a problem. Just send me an email, guys. Fresh batch coming in the next 5 days, probably something like that, give or take. They said the 12th, but they always arrive like 3 days early. So yeah, there we go. John Levi said the Book of Revelation should be ripped out of the Bible. Amazed me, says Elva. Yeah, I heard about that. I'm not surprised though. I don't think you should be surprised either. Money is a pyramid scheme. There's even a pyramid with an eyeball on the back of the dollar bill. Everything we do has become monitored by NSA. The FBI and the CIA. That's right. It sure has. Or maybe for you guys in America, in the UK, we've got our own thing. Wendy thinks she's weird. Sign me up for a copy. Pay through PayPal. Yeah, it's all PayPal payments. I know some people don't like that, but I don't have many alternatives for American to British payments, unfortunately. I did have Cash App, but that got shut down because the UK just can't have it anymore, apparently. They take everything. The UK and America payment system gets more complicated by the day, to be honest. But yeah, it's through PayPal, so just email me. I'll send you the links, and then once you've paid, that's your copy reserved. All I'll do is literally pay for the postage and packaging through my courier, and I'll have the label there ready to go on a package. And then as soon as the books turn up, your book just gets signed, puts it into packaging, and I ship it straight away. So you can reserve it. Absolutely. If anyone else is interested, just email me, understandingconspiracy@gmail.com. I have the hardback I got from Amazon, says Alvin. Good. Thanks for that. I really appreciate it. Yeah, the book sales are still going strong, which I'm quite happy about. I think I don't really have to advertise. I think just Amazon in general because it's got high reviews, such positive reviews from you guys. I think it's maintaining like a general being pushed to people thing now, and it's a catchy, eye-catching book cover, isn't it? Thank my wife for helping me make this. And I think it just, it's working quite well. And obviously, it's good to spread the gospel. It's a gospel trap at the end of the day, and it's good to get people aware of spiritual warfare, which is what the book's really all about at the end of the day. Paul, your adverts are the best. Fire, sunglasses, thumbs up. Thank you. I don't know. I need to write some more scripts for some. I'll order a book from you. I'll send an email this week, says Nico. Excellent. Yeah. Just send me an email and we can get it sorted out for you guys. No problem whatsoever. Right. So I do have some more tips for truthers before we kind of taper off this show a little bit. Let me just quickly get this file up so I can see it. Where did I get to? I got up to Sheeple of People, and this is a good one. Number 14, conspiracy fads come and go. This is another one I've seen a pattern over the years I've been doing this, and there's this. You'll find things crop up in like 3 to 4 year cycles, roughly speaking. And it was like the Mayan calendar, end of the world 2012 stuff. And then around 2015, it was the flat earth phenomena. Okay. And then coming out of that and around that time was the Mandela effect around 2016-17 period, give or take. Maybe around 2015 period, but they kind of bled together, those two events. And then around about the 2020 period, and 2016 to 2020 period, it all got political. And everything was kind of all about politics and left-right paradigms and this type of stuff. And because obviously Trump getting in for the first time, and there was a big shake-up. But at the same time, around that time, No Forest on Flat Earth kind of came out, which indicated that the whole Earth has been excavated and is not what it seems. And then Tartaria kind of grew out of that around the 2018-19 period as well. And that kind of was the big thing for a while, and that's tapered out and become kind of a background thing a little bit more. And then, boom, around about 2020, 2021 period, the little season information came out. So there's kind of cycles to big paradigm-shifting topics. But as time goes on, that fad kind of tapers off into the background, and it's the next thing everybody's on. And it's like a bandwagon. Each topic that comes along, everyone leaps onto and kind of just does what they can with it for so many years. And then some people cling on to it and never move on. Others move on to the next topic. All I'm saying is these things are kind of like fads. They do come and go in the conspiracy world. And I'm saying just try not to forget the important information from each one. But some things are just here today, gone tomorrow as well. You find a lot of topics, like this telepathy tape thing, for example. It's probably here today, gone tomorrow, to be honest. It's the hot thing right now. You know, and people who follow like the political stuff, there's a lot of that there too. Everyone's talking about this or that right now, but then it'll be gone tomorrow. You know what I mean? And we always forget stuff. For example, you probably all already forgotten, but does everyone remember that a bridge collapsed not that long ago in America because a boat just went straight into it? Has everyone forgot that already? Like, it's kind of, but that was a big deal for like a day or two, wasn't it? And everyone was like conspiracizing about what happened there and how it's all planned and the symbolism and everything. But then you've moved on and you forgot about it already. Yeah, be prepared for a lot of that if you're going to be in the conspiracy game. Number 15 is not all theories or movements are to be trusted. And, you know, I'm not trying to get too conspiratorial here, but some theories and movements have been put out there to mislead people and deceive people and keep people locked into like a basic way of thinking. And we should always be wary of those. We call them psyops, don't we? We should always be wary of the psyops and the controlled opposition stuff. Always be aware of that as a possibility. Absolutely. 16, there's a difference between conspiracy research and conspiratainment. This is something a lot of people that might not have necessarily learned to distinguish between yet, but if the History Channel has chucked out a documentary about ancient aliens, that's called conspiratainment. Okay? It's interesting, it's intriguing, it's fun, it's there to entertain you, and when you've finished and go away from it, you haven't really learnt anything. Okay? And you're left with more questions than answers because that was created for the purpose of simply keeping you entertained and trapped within a basic interpretation of things. Then there's conspiracy research, where people are legitimately getting into the depths of the occult and the understandings and the origins of information and knowledge and sharing that with you and exposing the truth and the lies and the hypocrisy behind everything and the evil controls agendas. That's conspiracy. But then there's conspiratainment, like Zeitgeist. Okay, some things that are just created simply to encapsulate your imagination for a little bit. And then you get the ones that Netflix produces quite a lot of things, but one of them called Cowspiracy or something like that. It's like nonsense like that comes out every now and then. That seems like it's breaking some big truth to you in some way, but it's like a mainstream production and it's just there to entertain you, and you're actually not going to learn anything of value from it. Learn to distinguish the difference between conspiratainment and conspiracy research. It's like we live in that age where you don't realize it until it's too late, but you've actually just been watching an ad for like 3 minutes thinking it was a video about something. It's kind of, that trick is still at playing conspiracy too. 17 is a big one, and I've titled it a paragraph. So it's basically so I'm going to read the paragraph. Cryptids, JFK, Area 51, moon landing hoax, false flags, conspiracy theories, these types are all basic surface level concepts that bear no resemblance to the real larger conspiracy that is to be known. These are known as mainstream pop culture conspiracy theories, and you will ruffle no feathers discussing them. And they will be openly talked about on mainstream sources. JFK, cryptids, Area 51, moon landing hoax, false flags, all this type of stuff. They're not really interesting. They're not that deep. They're not supposed to be. Okay. The whole Paul McCartney was replaced or dead thing as well. All this type of stuff. You know, it's kind of, they're not a big deal, as big as you think they are. The moon landing hoax one, maybe, but even the mainstream will talk about that because they don't care about you talking about that. Like, they want you to talk about it even because it's keeping you distracted away from the main things. Cryptids, talk about Bigfoot as much as you want. No one's going to care. No one's going to shut you down. You know, talk about Area 51 and hiding aliens from us and the Roswell crash as much as you want. No one cares. No one's going to stop you. No one's tapping your phone line for that, okay? It's not a big deal to anybody. They don't care if you talk about it. Move on. Move past the mainstream conspiracy crap. Just get over it already. It's nonsense. It's not interesting. It's boring. It's useless. It's not helpful. You're not learning anything, dwelling on it or focusing on it. There's so much more truth out there to be learned that they're stopping you from going to even bother to look at, basically. Ignore all that stuff. It's interesting. It's fun. Learn about it, but move on. Okay? Don't plateau on the basic mainstream conspiracy level. It's just come on. There's more to know. 18. Some concepts can easily send you into hatred towards other groups of people. We are all victims. Our battle is spiritual. Stay in love. Okay, so there's a lot of these topics out there that really do garner hatred for specific classes or groups or races of people. They really do. And if you fall into that, you're losing perspective on Christ and God and what this is all truly about. The truth, you know. And don't get me wrong, there's some horrible people out there, and there's definitely some issues I'm not denying. But if you let that fester into hatred inside of you, you're letting them win in ways which are not conducive to truth and love and reaching others, basically. You just be careful with it. Be careful with that, because they want us fighting each other at the end of the day. Divide and conquer is their method. They want us having a class or group of people to pin all of our hate and anger and fears and blame onto, when really there's actually just a very few people at the top we should be directing our anger and hatred and blame towards. But they keep us fighting each other at all times. And so don't fall into those traps. They leave bait out there all the time to get people to just kill each other, basically. All right, just stop falling for it. Get above it. Get above the bait. Don't take it. Number 19 is no one knows when the end is coming. Don't let anyone convince you that they're a prophet or a divine vision from God type person who knows the date or time, and they've set the date and time, and it's kind of like, oh, everything's aligning perfectly to my math, and just follow me, trust me, I know what's going on, sell all your stuff. And just don't listen to those people. Snake oil salesmen, charlatans who are stringing you along to make money, and to generate fear and to make money off you through ad revenue and clicks. It's very simple. Avoid date setters. Rule number 1. It's easy to fall into that stuff at the beginning because you're looking for the signs of the times. I get it. But just get past it now. It's a con. It's a big con, all right? Just avoid that right away. And number 20 is stay sober. It speaks for itself. Basic advice. There we go. Yeah, you gotta be sharp, okay? So I would avoid getting too inebriated too often. I really would. So there we go, guys. There's the tips for truthers. I gave you 20 reeled off there. I'll be making individual videos about these as I go along. But if anyone, please, at all, can think of any bit of advice themselves that they maybe want to share, or maybe I could add to my list, shoot now. I'm all ears. I want to see in the comments if anybody has any at all, any of their own piece of advice, something they've learned the hard way along the way to learning the truth and sharing it with loved ones. Share it with me now, guys. I want to know. Okay. Someone's talking about JFK again. Yeah, see, just don't dwell on it. I mean, yes, I know he was clearly assassinated, it was dodgy as hell and all that sort of stuff, but move on. Like, they're keeping your focus on that because there's more things happening now. Okay, they don't want you looking at it. Jason Jack, hey brother. Quite a lot of people in the house, haven't we? Pepe Sylvia says, I know I'm late. Yep, you are. You should be ashamed of yourself. Let me just catch up with the chat here. I called dibs on November 2nd. Love your YouTube channel name, Steve. What am I missing here? What's Steve's YouTube channel name? I want to know now. I want to get in on the joke. The Ends Have Happened. Revelation was a book added later by the Roman Catholic Church during the reign of Constantine. It's an end times mind trick. I don't think so. I think there's a lot in Revelation that matches all the other books quite succinctly. And I think a lot of prophecy in there has come true, so I don't think so. Jason Jack's latest video smashes futurism. Wonderful. I'll have to check that one out. Space Mike. When sharing truth of stuff, I've been able to share by asking questions and saying a lot of what ifs to get people to look into it themselves. Certainly, that's a good advice. Leading questions. Let people try and figure it out for themselves. Let them speculate on ideas and concepts in the moment. Let them visualize it. Absolutely. Good advice. There's definitely a way to say these things that works better than others, that's for sure. You can say that again, Paul. I don't know what I said. There's a 20-second delay, so I can't remember what I said now. But thanks for agreeing with me, whatever it is. Don't argue with opinions. Allow people to be wrong. That's a good one. That's an interesting piece of advice. I'm just happy you guys were around, says GeoBuzzio. Okay, fair enough. MC Shammer says, don't laugh at their beliefs. We were all there, as you always say. Yeah, we were them once. That's true. Going through a back catalogue to identify your main channel points is a great idea. Yeah, well, I've got things I need to do better because I recorded a lot of crap in my car with terrible audio, so I feel like I need to do them again and better quality, and I've learned a lot more since those days as well. Keep learning from different people, says the Opal and Ruby Show. Chew the cud, Take what lines up with scripture and the spirit, throw the rest out. We all have something to contribute, but we are all not right about everything. That's true. That's absolutely true, yeah. Don't be afraid to talk to people who have different beliefs, because they can always offer a perspective you've not quite seen before. It doesn't mean you have to believe everything they say or ruin your foundations in Christ or anything like that, but you'll find they may have been looking into a region of the earth or history that you wouldn't have looked into because of your perspective, and you can always glean new information from people, even if you don't always align to their beliefs. I think sadly there's this attitude in the Christian conspiracy culture. It's kind of like you're not allowed to talk to people if they're not Christians, and I think we need to drop that closed-minded way of being. I'm not saying you have to drop your beliefs all of a sudden and not be a Christian anymore because you talk to somebody who's not a Christian. I'm saying we don't think they don't have something of value to offer to the conversation just because they're not Christian. That's very, very silly. Like I wouldn't live your life like that. But I do feel like some people do. I get that sense sometimes, and it's a weird way of living your life, is all I'll say. Thank you for doing these videos for our community. This is super helpful to a lot of us. God bless, says Space Mike. Oh, thanks. I'm glad someone's getting some value out of this. I'm trying my best. I do try my best. I love those car videos, says Amelia. The sound of the engine is comforting. Some people rage at it, Amelia. They hate it. I don't do it anymore. I've upgraded. I've got the SM7B. I've got a Osmo Pocket 3 face tracking camera, and I've got LEDs. I've got LEDs now. Like, you can't go wrong, can you? Look at this. It's changed. It's done changed the game. Look, I can go red. I can go green. I can go blue. Oh, he says I can go classic white, which is what I stick it on. Like, there you go. Everything's different now. Like, this is how I'm going to make the videos from now on. I truly appreciate your work. It's been helping me and my husband in many ways. Well, that's very humbling to hear. Thank you, Stacey. Bible Scribe would be a great person on. I've had Bible Scribe on already. I've talked to David. Of course, my life blowing up is more intensified because my entire family is atheist. Makes things difficult when you can't help them, even when you know you can't save everyone. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Like I said, Julie, maybe you should go listen to some of my tips for truthers, and maybe it might be cathartic for you to help hear that you're not alone, basically. And I get it. I do get it. Even in normie churchy circles, I get judged for having plenty of non-Christian friends. It's called being able to witness rather than having Christian bubble, says Misha. Absolutely. Jesus hung around with the worst, the people others frowned upon, and, Paul made himself able to talk with anybody and everybody when it was appropriate. And, it's not always about evangelizing. I'm not saying hide your beliefs from these people, but at the same time, listen to what they have to share. Sometimes they have a perspective you don't have, and glean what you can from it. And obviously, again, leave behind the bones, spit them out. It's simple, really, but you're allowed to do that. You need to get the tanks in the background. What, the fish tank? I've got fish tank downstairs. I'm not putting that in the background. I've no room. This is a tiny office. It's not as big as you think it is. But my shrimp and fish, my platies and my shrimp and my tetras are living very happily right now downstairs. I think you should do so from your car again for old time's sake. Maybe do a Guy's Gotta Eat UK, says Shane. That's not a bad idea. I might do that now. I'm gonna completely hijack and steal Connor's bit, and I'm gonna give him 0 credit. I'm just gonna eat food on camera and say I completely came up with this concept. I might do a weekly show called Guy's Gotta Eat. Watch me. I'm gonna steal everything he's ever done. No, I'm not. I need to lose weight, to be honest. I can't do what that guy does. He clearly has a way better metabolism than me. D. Crowell, thanks for that. I appreciate it. Before you end the stream, can you end it with a short prayer, says Space Mike? Sure, I can read a prayer out for you guys. I don't really pray in public. I'm more of a pray in private type of guy. But I did, funnily enough, print out a couple of prayers for one of my last shows, and maybe I can just read one of these out for you. Keep it simple. I'm more talk to God continuously in my own head, and when I'm alone in the car, that's when I do my praying. I'm not really a public prayer guy, but I will for you, Mike, as you requested. I'll read out the Lord's Prayer. We'll keep it simple, yeah. Connor's in for it. He's laughing. Yep, I'm going to steal everything you've ever done. Your empire's mine, Connor. Guys got to eat. Totally my idea. Nothing to do with you. It's Amy, me too. Typing is so hard to communicate. Everyone's loving this idea of me becoming the new Guys Got to Eat guy. Yep. Guys Got to Eat UK is totally awesome. When you are ready to end, don't go yet though, says Space Mike. No, well, I'm still going for another 20 minutes. It's a 2-hour show. I'm going to take another quick couple of minute break or so. I'm going to play another advert for you guys just for fun. Why not? And because my throat's really dry, I need to grab some more water. So I'm going to do that for you guys now, and we'll pop back and we'll have a bit more of a conversation before we go. Absolutely. So let me switch this. And I think I'll do... I've done Halloween, I've done Christmas. Let's do the classic one. Let's just do what we started with.
Are you tired of the same old conversations? Do you often find yourself struggling to know what to say? Are you over discussing the news, sports ball, or the weather? It's time to put boring discussions behind you by leaving a copy of The Nephilim Look Like Clowns on your coffee table, your toilet, your local library, mother's car, boss's office desk, or that person you really like's bed instead.
What the hell is this?
Oh, that? Why, it's just a book about how the modern costume of a clown is a caricature of ancient giants and modern demons.
Stay away from my children.
This is a conversation you can't wait to have.
My family used to think I was crazy, but thanks to The Nephilim Look Like Clowns, they know I'm crazy.
The Nephilim Looks Like Clowns. It's no laughing matter.
And we're back. How we all doing? Switch that back there. And someone's asked me, what is that Judah artist you play on these breaks? So yeah, he's called Judah Sargent. And let me just quickly let's mix this up. I'm sorry if this plays. I'm just gonna mute this quickly. I'm gonna bring up his channel and share it with you guys so you can see. If I share the screen, this is on Spotify. As you can see, Yahweh and the Vagabond. And these are the songs I play. Endurance is one I like to play quite a lot. But you'll find this album is really good. The one this is playing on now. It's got kind of I think some of his best work on there. But Endurance here is on his latest album. It's a remake of the old song here on that album. And this one's also great. So you can find it here. Look for this guy, Yahweh and the Vagabond, and you'll find his work there. So I hope that helps. Bit of information for you guys. Switch back to the webcam. Saved by Jesus 201, $20. Thanks for that. It says victory. I appreciate it. I love this one, Paul, says Trish. Yes, it's the first advert I made. I had a lot of fun with that one. Conspiracy theorists in cars getting coffee. We could just do that as well, yeah. My family thought I was crazy. Now they know I'm crazy, yeah. My family used to think I was crazy. Now they know I'm crazy, yeah. That was you can thank Mark P. Steves for the inspiration for that one, who has a podcast called My Family Thinks I'm Crazy. And I just thought it was a funny take. I thought, no, my family know I'm crazy. Is what I thought. I just published a book about clowns. I got my mum in the background reading the damn thing while I say it. This is funny. I love this one. I showed it to my mother-in-law, but she couldn't read the book. I thought it was great. Yeah, well, I'll like I said, audiobook's coming out. She can listen to it instead. we'll get the book to everybody. Yahweh and the Vagabond. That's right, Danielle. Bless you, save. Great commercials. What is that? Says Chibi Yoda. I don't know what you're talking about there. I'm a guitarist. I do my own songs, no lyrics. I don't sing. I do odd time signatures and weird groupings. I'm autistic dyspraxic guitarist. Is that what you're saying? Interesting, Misha. Maybe you have to send me some of your weird timing recordings in email. I'll definitely listen to some of them. Understandingconspiracy@gmail.com. Send me some MP3s across. I'll listen to those. I speak fluent sarcasm, says Wendy. That would be hilarious. My Mormon parents are like 50% there when it comes to Tartaria and Little Season, says Space Mike. Interesting. Yeah, I think there's various factions of Christendom that might be more open to it than others. Mormonism being one of them, as much you can call it Christendom. But I think Jehovah's Witnesses might be quite open to this concept as well, if I remember correctly. Obviously, the preterist camp are already pretty much on board with everything. They just have allegorized most of it as well. We just bring more physical evidence, I suppose. So yeah, I can see that. When does the audiobook come out, says JP? It comes out when it's done. I'm halfway through reading chapter 8, but chapter 8's a big one. It's about the flood, and it's like 20 pages long. So I've gone through like a few pages of that so far. So hopefully in a month or two, give or take. I mean, once the chapter's read, I've got to then go through it and edit out the mistakes and the gaps and the breaths and stuff. So it's a process, but a couple of months, I'd say. Today in church service, my pastor acknowledged that he has been wrong about certain topics, but a few members have approached him on. I know I had a part of that. Behold, you can reach the lost, says Precision Rifleman. Interesting to hear. Good for you. Well done. You can do a Nephilim clowns have arisen for Easter. They have risen after 3 days. Clowns have been resurrected or something like that for Easter, says Misha. I'm not going to associate clowns with my Lord and Savior necessarily. I try and keep them separate in some way. And it's not really about the clowns. It's about the comedy of there being a book about such a ridiculous concept that's actually deadly serious. Do you get what I mean? That's the kind of the comedy I like to lean into. But yeah. Any advice is welcome for advert ideas, guys, or holidays I could riff on for adverts. $277 people in the chat. Press like button. It's very simple. Go ahead, guys. Press like for me. I appreciate that too. Polyrhythms come naturally for me outside of the box. Interesting. I'm more of a 4/4 timing type of guy myself. I'm pretty basic. Most people here know my antics by now. That's right. Might have to pay Connor to read it for an American English version of the book. Why? What's wrong with my voice? I'm offended, Shane. What the hell's wrong with my voice? You can listen to me read it or nobody. Put up or shut up. Church is hard. It's good, but also indoctrination, the family. Yeah, I understand. Apparently, Wendy got 6 hours of sleep last night. Isn't she lucky? She's bragging. I'm lucky if I get 3 or 4, to be honest, these days. And the rev for a Southern English version. What the hell's wrong with my voice, Shane? Screw you. No, I'm joking. But yeah, no, I'm trying my best here. I'm reading a book for you guys. Like, stop. Let it be published before you start saying, nah, get somebody else to read it. Give me a chance. Like, listen to it first before we start saying, I want to hear this in American English. Like, come on, please. Anyway. that's enough. I've given some tips for you guys. I've got like 15 minutes left, but my voice is tired. So I'm going to call this show. I still want Keely to read parts, says Wendy. Maybe I'll get her to read the foreword or the preface for you guys or something like that. But yeah, guys, thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. Mike says this channel is the closest thing to church I've been a part of in a long time. We certainly do have a strong community here. We're all friends. We're all family. We're in this together, you know, and we have a solid community, and I'm thankful for all of you. I truly am, and obviously I thank God for bringing us together and for everything He's done for us and myself. Fascinating time to be alive, that's for sure. And on that note, I'll end with the Lord's Prayer. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory, forever. Amen. And I know, guys, it's trespasses, but, you know, let's mix it up every now and then, eh? We know what it means. But thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for being here. And as always, God bless.